Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. Previous week we talked about because of feeling, craving arises. This is the most important link in the dependent originations. Actually, we supposed to learn previous week, but we couldn't finish. Underlying tendency. So actually, it's nausea. For those who want to learn about this link, depending on feeling, craving arises. So you can read Samdha Nikaya, Vedana Sanyutta, chapter 36. So actually, it's very good to read chapter 36. After you learn Four Noble Truths, dependent originations, then you can read Samdha Nikaya. Samdha Nikaya is very high for the people who are advancing spiritual knowledge. Then I hope you'll be able to understand the essence of Samdha Nikaya. So one of the scholars said that Digha Nikaya is meant for the outsider, non-Buddhist. Majjhima Nikaya for Buddhist. So for that reason, I only recommend to read Majjhima Nikaya as a Buddhist, if you are a Buddhist. Easy to read, and also variety of teachings. Also you will feel that you are meeting with the Buddha personally. Majjhima Nikaya. Anguttara Nikaya for lay people. Simple, very simple teachings, lay people. Generally. But Samdha Nikaya for monks and nuns. And also for those, for lay devotees who are high in spiritual knowledge. Especially meant for monks and nuns. So for those who want to know about connection between feeling and craving, you can read Samdha Nikaya chapter 36. It's all about feeling. Then actually we have learned a lot. When a bhikkhu has abandoned the underlying tendency to lust in regard to pleasant feeling. Normally when we experience pleasant feeling, the underlying tendency to lust is potential to arise when we see pleasant feeling. But here also, please note that feeling is not an emotional aspect, it's just a sensation. When you have a pleasant feeling in your body, when you see a pleasant thing in your eye, when you hear a pleasant sound, lust or greed likely to arise. But if you are mindful, sati, if you clearly comprehend what you experience, panya or sambhajana, lust or greed will not arise. No chance for lust or greed. For that reason, the Buddha with the word anusaya is the potential to arise, underlying tendency to lust in regard to pleasant feeling, underlying tendency to aversion or hatred or anger in regard to painful feeling, unpleasant experience. So when you have an unpleasant experience with your body, with your tongue, with your nose, eye, ear, then aversion or dislike likely to arise. When somebody criticizes you, you don't like it. Hatred, simultaneously arise. Because it's used to it, we are used to it. We're used to it. So, if we experience painful feeling, if we do not have a sati and sambhajana, aversion, hatred or anger likely to arise. For that reason, it's called underlying tendency. So actually, meditation is about to control our lust, our aversion by practicing mindfulness and sambhajana. That is all about meditation. When you see something, if aversion arises at once, that means your willpower is not strong yet. So somebody talk unpleasant things, then you have a painful feeling. Then aversion normally arise. So that means your willpower is not strong yet. The next one is when underlying tendency to ignorance in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Actually, painful feeling, pleasant feeling, these are very strong, very easy to recognize, pleasant or unpleasant. But neutral feeling is not quite obvious. It's not quite clear to you unless you have mindfulness and clear comprehension. So that for that reason, in neutral feeling, which is not very clear, not obvious, a very subtle experience. So in those occasions, if you are not mindful and if you do not clearly comprehend, that means ignorance, delusion will arise. So that is for that reason the Buddha talk about three types of anusaya: potential to arise and ignorance if it is a neutral feeling, then lust or greed if it is a pleasant feeling, or aversion or hatred if it is painful or unpleasant feeling. Right? Feeling here is not a emotion aspect, just experience, a sensation, When you go out, hot sun, is a painful experience, unpleasant experience. When you eat a bad food, unpleasant. That is the experience, Based on that experience, you have mental activities, sankhara, mental activities, in sankhara. Your mind start to function, whether good or bad state of mind. Actually, the Buddha is the one who tells us to train our mind and to know our mind through mindfulness meditation. If there is no underlying tendency, then he is called a bhikkhu without underlying tendencies, one who sees rightly. He has cut off craving, sever the factors, and by completely breaking through conceit, even a conceit, he has made an end to suffering. There will be no suffering. But of course there will be physical suffering. Physical suffering. Okay, I hope is a clear question. No question, huh? Next one is a clinging, upadana, with the craving as condition, clinging come to be. Because of craving, clinging arises. Clinging is an intense grasping of the object. It is a subsequent craving, more powerful craving. So two levels of attachment are stated in Visuddhimagga. That's from Visuddhimagga. No? Number one, longing for an object is called craving. So you long for something, that's craving. It is like a stretching out your hand to the dark, in the dark to steal an object. You stretch out your hand to steal something. Firmly grasping the object in your hand is called clinging. You cannot let go. You grasp and you cling to that. So that is more powerful. Firmly grasping the object in hand is called clinging. But in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, see, the original suffering is only craving, right? But the Buddha talk about only use the word tanha or craving. But here, in the 12-fold formula, so the Buddha trying to expand, trying to make it more explanation. So we divided craving into two: normal craving and intense craving. Maybe more powerful one. This one is more powerful one. Sometimes you may have a craving, but if that craving is very big, it will be clinging or grasping. Normally, the Buddha talk about 4 types of clinging. Number 1, clinging to sensual pleasures. So if you have a sensual pleasures, you cling to that, you grab them. So that means intense, so intense that you cannot let go. You trying to grab it, cling to that. Then things are subject to impermanence. If you encounter with the impermanence, then you cannot let go. Then suffering will come. Clinging to sensual pleasures. So the first one, clinging to sensual pleasure, is greed according to Abhidhamma. The rest are wrong view. Number 2, clinging to wrong views. We have a different type of wrong views. You cling to that. So that is a clinging to wrong view. Number 3, clinging to rites and rituals. We have a lot of rites and rituals in Buddhism, in other religions. Actually, one of the definitions about Sila Paramasa is very clear. If everything outside of Noble Eightfold Path is rites and rituals, Sila Paramasa. If you are not on the Noble Eightfold Path, you are following rites and rituals. Very clear, eh? So first of all, you need to know what is the Noble Eightfold Path. Other than Noble Eightfold Path, if you are doing other things, you go to astrologer and ask for astrology for your future. Eh? That is rites and rituals. Outside of Noble Eightfold Path, I always say, even in our temple, we blessed, right? If you do not have a proper understanding, that will be rites and rituals. Outside of Noble Eightfold Path. Quite clear. We have a lot, Some people choose the day, to do business, or some people choose a direction, That's the outside of Noble Eightfold Path. There are a lot, Some people keep some twine in their shop. What is it? Mascot? Huh? Huh? Mascot. Yeah. Because they think that by keeping such a twine, like this, money will come, right? A good business, many customers will come, That's also rights and rituals. So that means if you have a right understanding and right intention, then based on that, you have a right speech, right action, right livelihood. Then your business will grow, right? Just do based on the Noble Eightfold Path. Everything will be all right, whether it's mundane or super mundane. As long as you are on the Noble Eightfold Path, everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. I couldn't find in the Sutta what is the definition of Sila Prabhamasa. Other than Noble Eightfold Path, the rest are rites and rituals. But as I always say that only you become Sotapanna, you will be able to remove clinging to those rites and rituals. As a normal person, including me, we have a attachment or clinging, right? Clinging to them. We like it, We like it. They are so strong that you cannot let go, cling to that, Many people, if they have a problem, they go to astrologer to seek advice. The next one, clinging to a doctrine of self. But this one is very satisfying. Believing in permanent entity. Actually, in the West, without self or without soul, actually, they cannot live without soul. If you say something, there is no soul, they can't believe, Very difficult to believe. Because their idea and their belief in soul is so strong that they cannot let go. Very difficult. Very difficult. And then 4 years ago, and one of the Christian and came and attend my Soda study class. When I talk about soul, he couldn't accept, Even after class, he always come to me and he said that he couldn't accept it. Clinging to the doctrine of self or soul. Normally, we identify this body and this mind as I, as I. That's also clinging to a doctrine of self. There's no I, just the heap of the aggregate, five aggregate. And everything, just five aggregate. But we identify as a woman, we identify as a man, then many problems follow. That's clinging to a doctrine of self is the most difficult to remove, For that reason, it is called clinging, cannot let go. So these are 4 types of clinging. Question? I think no question. Defilements and kilesa, ignorance and craving and clinging. So all these 3 are called defilements, which are main causes to produce good and bad actions, even good and bad actions. So even though they are called defilements, they also produce good and bad actions. So you want to be born as a deva because of that. You do a lot of good deed. Even the defilements, even the lobha will create the good things. ignorance, craving and clinging, so they are called defilements because they define and they define your mind. Through those actions, one undergoes akshamic karma. Through those karmas, one undergoes rebirth process in the new life, in the wheel of samsara, in the wheel of life, samsara. Because you have defilements like ignorance, craving and clinging, because of that you do good and bad actions. That's karma. Because of that karma, you have a rebirth process in the new life. So in that way, you're going around samsara again and again. According to Tibetan originations, ignorance is shown as the past cause that conditions the present rebirth. So actually, according to Abhidhamma explanation, ignorance is the past cause. Actually, we have learned that past life, present life, and future life. So ignorance is the cause in the past life. Because of that, you do sankhara, you do karma. Karma is the result. Karma is the result. Craving and clinging are the present causes that condition future rebirth. Because of craving and clinging, you do karma existence. You do karma. So because of that karma, you have a rebirth again. So craving and clinging are present causes. So that will condition the future rebirth. But here, don't forget that when the Buddha talk about craving as condition, with the craving as condition, sankhara arises. Sankhara come to be. But craving is not just one cause for the arising of sankhara. I think it's very important to understand. Otherwise, you are confused. Craving is not one cause for the arising of sankhara or karma. There are many causes. But the Buddha single off only one cause, main cause. That's craving. Ignorance. So because of ignorance, we do sankhara. Actually, ignorance is not only one cause. There are many causes, just like a craving, clinging. So these are the many other causes. So because of that, you do karma. So that means, so the Buddha just take only one main cause, ignorance. Because of ignorance, and sankhara arises. Because of sankhara, vijnana, right? Vijnana. But anyway, for easier to understand easily, so Visuddhimagga, especially Paticambhiramaga and Visuddhimagga and commentaries, they're trying to analyze 12-fold formula for easy to understand easier way. So they divide it into three segments. Avijja and sankhara, past life. Not past life, maybe past, as it past. Vijnana up to existence as a present. And birth and aging and death as a past, future. So the commentator, they trying to divide it into three segments as a past, present and future. Even we shouldn't say past life, but of course in Abhidhamma we use past life, present life and future life. We even shouldn't say like this: past, present and future. Okay, so so this is a three type of defilements in the 12-fold formula of divine originations. Next one is existence, bhava. With the clinging, upadana as condition, existence come to be. Because of clinging, existence come to be. Normally, suttas, almost all the suttas interpret bhava as a three kinds of existence. So, sense-sphere existence, form or material, five material sphere existence, and immaterial sphere existence. In other words, we have a 31 planes of existence. So when the sutta interpret the word bhava, so that means 31 planes of existence, right? In other words, three types of existence: sense sphere, five material, immaterial. That I have given the quotation here. Then you can go and read. Tika Nikaya, Sutta number 50, para number 5. Easier for you to read. You don't need to read the whole Sutta. This one, Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 9, para number 30. Samanaka Nikaya, chapter 12, Sutta number 2. Anguttara Nikaya, chapter 3, Sutta number 75. So if you read all these sutta, many suttas, I just give you some of the examples. So here, bhava or existence means 31 planes of existence. But Abhidhamma trying to analyze the word bhava into two types of existence. Vipassana text or second book called Seven Abhidhamma texts, and commentary mention two kinds of bhava. Number one, karma existence, karma bhava, and rebirth existence, upapati bhava. According to suttas, existence means number 2, rebirth existence. The places where you will have a rebirth, the realms or existences. But Abhidhamma trying to analyze the word bhava into two, karma existence and rebirth existence. What is karma existence? Because of clinging, upadana, our actions, here action means karma, our karma, so that karma, we do karma motivated by cetana, volition. Because of volition, we do karma. Our action, because of clinging, our action come into existence, come into being. Karma come into being. That's called karma existence. Clinging is a condition or a driving force to take actions. Because of clinging, you take action by way of speech, body and mind. Taking action is called karma bhava, karma existence. By taking action, karma come into existence. Actually, Usatila, the one who translates second Abhidhamma text, so he translates karma bhava as the action becoming. Very beautiful. Karma becoming or action becoming. Because of craving and clinging, karma, action come into existence. Karma becoming or action becoming. So for that reason, some people translate bhava, the word bhava as a becoming. Because of this one, no? Some people translate just existence, just like a bigger body. And Bhikkhu Nyanamoli and Bhikkhu Bori, in their Majjhima Nikaya translation, they use becoming. And Visuddhimagga also, they use the word bhava, becoming. Maybe if we translate Kama bhava, action becoming, or Kama becoming. Because of craving and clinging, Kama become. Right? That is the Kama existence. Actually, the Sankhara and Kama bhava are the same, according to Abhidhamma. According to Abhidhamma, both Sankhara and Kama bhava are good and bad actions, or the violation in the 29 wholesome and unwholesome mundane chetas. We have a 12 unwholesome cheta, 8 great wholesome cheta, and 5 immaterial wholesome cheta, and 4 material wholesome cheta. Altogether 29. The violation or chetana in 29 wholesome and unwholesome mundane chetas. That is called Sankhara or Kama bhava. So according to Abhidhamma, Sankhara and Kama bhava are the same. So because of ignorance, Sankhara arises. Ignorance is not one cause. Ignorance is not only one cause for the arising of Sankhara. Craving, clinging. Because ignorance is defilements, and craving and clinging are also defilements. So by talking ignorance, you also have to take other causes, other defilements. Clinging, craving and clinging as well. Because of three, because of ignorance, craving and clinging, Sankhara arises. Right? Sankhara arises. But we have 10 defilements according to Abhidhamma. Because of those 10 defilements, Sankhara arises. Not only one, Normally what we understand is because of ignorance, Sankhara arises. Ignorance is not only one cause. So the Buddha just take out only main root cause. So by taking ignorance, you also have to take the other two defilements, craving and clinging. So because of these three, Sankhara arises. Right? But in the case of Kama bhava, because of clinging, Kama bhava arises. Actually, clinging is not only one cause for the arising of Kama bhava. Clinging is defilements. For that reason, you have to take the other two defilements as well. Because of ignorance, craving and clinging, Kama bhava arises. That's very important. So because of clinging, craving and ignorance, Kama bhava arises. So here, Sankhara and Kama bhava, according to Abhidhamma, they are the same, but they have a different different aspect. Sankhara belongs to the past life, according to Abhidhamma. Because of ignorance, Sankhara arises. It's past life. Right? Sankhara belongs to past life. So here, Sankhara means good and bad actions done in the past life generate rebirth linking consciousness in the present life. But Kama bhava belong to present life. The good and bad actions done in this present life will generate rebirth existence in the future life. So actually, Sankhara, Karma, Bhava, they are the same. They are karma of relation in the 29 Osana and Osamadhichatas. But they are different. Sankhara belong to past life and Karma Bhava belong to this life. That's different. Okay? Question? Okay.
In addition to ignorance, craving, and carrying as the key causes, can we include conceit?
Why not? Why not? Yes.
Yeah, because I read some comment.
Yeah. Not only conceit, we have a 10 defilements. You can even add those 10 defilements. For that reason, we have many type of dependent originations. So in one discourse, the Buddha will talk different way, another different way, depend on individual disposition or understanding, the level of understanding. Okay. Okay. Question?
Are there some clarification between sensation, feeling that leads to aversion? So I'm trying to recall back to sutras where monk commits suicide.
Okay.
So if monk emphasizes schema conditions, for Venerable Khema, she was able to have a blissful mental state despite that she is suffering from cancer, and therefore she has a the state is that the body and the mind is very clear. Where for the monks, they could have practiced or reached the stage of removing the defilements. I'm not sure whether the sutras have elaborated whether they have gone into a state of achieving Dhamma, where they have cleared all the eradication, but the feeling they still have it. So if I still have the feeling, does it mean that the monk has not clearly cleared off the fetters on the touch, sensation that drives them to be so intolerable that they commit suicide, and Buddha did not stop them? Or could it be that because they have reached the state of Nirvana and blissful state, they found that the body is very foul, that they want to kill themselves for it? I'm not very clear on this aspect. Can you help me to understand a bit more?
Actually, it's very controversial issues. Actually, it's very difficult to interpret the suttas. We have some stories. The monks commit suicide. So, according to commentaries, the one who commits suicide is not an arahant. They are putrojana. They commit suicide. Why? As they cannot tolerate their feeling or sensation. But because of that, without any attachment to their body, they commit suicide. Then they have a painful feeling at the time. Then they contemplate that feeling, rising and passing away of that feeling. At that moment, they became arahant. They attain Nibbana. That is but in the case of Gaudikatera, is right. But in some suttas, it's implying that by reading the sutta carefully, even arahant, I think, commits suicide. So actually, here, especially the commentator, they do not accept it. Arahant will not commit suicide. But if we carefully read the suttas, that means those monks are arahant. They commit suicide. I think that's just my interpretation, just my understanding, not interpretation, just my understanding. Because they commit suicide, they think that they cannot use this body. Their body cannot be used for the betterment of people, many people. So for that reason, they terminate their body.
So this means that for aversion, there are arising painful feelings, that is your aversion. If you have reached the states of wisdom and arrived, then you should have a peaceful mind and you will not have a painful feeling on the mental state.
I mean, here also I think I very often explain that Vedana in Pali, Vedana means to know. When you go outside under the hot sun, you know that it's very hot, and the Buddha also know hot. That is a Vedana. Vedana. When you are staying in this room, you will experience cold, coolness of the aircon. When the Buddha and Arahant came in, they also experience. Some people, they don't like a very cold conditions here. Then they feel very angry. Why? The aircon is too cold. Why the sun is very hot? These are mental state. So based on Vedana or sensation, and like and dislike arises. But in the case of Arahant, for that reason, commentator, they don't want to say that Arahant commits suicide. But actually, what they say is very logical, because in the Theravada, there are some verses. Arahant talk about their point of view regarding with the life and death. So actually, Nabi Nandami Marana, they do not long for death. Very clear, very clear. Nabi Nandami, they do not long for death. Nabi Nandami Jivetan, they do not long for life. Normally, we don't want to die. No? We don't want to die. We are afraid to die. That's craving. That's craving. We want to live. That's also craving. That's also craving. Normally, we long for life. As the Arahant also does not long for life. They don't want to die. They don't want to live. It's weird, right? How they live? Kalancha patikankami, kalancha patikankami. They want only time. Kala. Time. Time is present moment. This time. They want only this time. How they live? Sambhajano pataisato. Sambhajana, clear comprehension. In this moment, when they are talking, they expect the time. This moment, only this moment. When they are doing something, only this moment. Clearly comprehending. They know what they are doing very clearly, number one. Pataisato, sato, sati, mindfulness. Fully mindful. Fully mindful. Only two qualities. They don't want to die. They do not long for death. They do not long for life. They don't want to die. They don't want to live. And they want only time. Only this time. Only present moment. They don't want past and future. Right? Only this moment. With the sati and sampajana. That is, when you look at Theravada, there are many verses, the same theory. Don't want to die, don't want to live. They just live in the present moment. They went or expect only time, no? Time. Even Theravada do not use the present moment, just time. They expect the time. So I think by looking at all these one, so even Arahant, I think will not commit suicide. But one thing what we can understand is, if their body is no use, they might terminate their body without any aversion. That is one conclusion that we can, that I can, I think, there's just my thinking. I'm thinking very hard, it's very controversial issue. So one of the Western scholar, his name is Damian, I think. He writes about, he make a thesis about suicide issues in Buddhism, and you can Google it. So you can find it more information. In the case of Bhikkhuni Khema, maybe she may experience painful feeling, but her meditative experience is so strong that she can meditate, and she practice true quality, mindfulness, and clear comprehension. She's just aware of what is happening. Then everything, there's even no time, even in those times, it's fully aware of what is happening. Time and space disappear. Time and space disappear. Just bliss. Just bliss. It's very hard. It's a controversial issues. Okay. Question? Okay.
So you just mentioned this sentence, which I think is quite.
Right?
Okay, just you talked about Bhikkhuni Khema.
Yeah.
Who practiced so well spiritually that she was not afraid of death. She stayed fully in the present moment.
Yeah.
So no concept of time and no concept of space. What does, I understand what no concept of time means, because it's just focus 100% on the present moment. What does space mean? No space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see the space.
I just borrow from scientists. They always use the time and space together. Actually, according to them, even the time is not reality. According to science, time is not a reality, and also space. In Abhidhamma, also in Buddhist teachings, even though the Buddha used the word akasa-dhatu, space element, it is not a ultimate reality. We have a six elements. Patavidhatu, the earth element, the water element, air element, fire element, and consciousness element. Only these five are ultimate realities. Akasa-dhatu, space element, is not a ultimate reality, just a concept. Because we create space in our mind. Even among the six elements, time is not mentioned. So here, the moment Bhikkhuni Khema contemplate what is happening at that moment, that means only ultimate reality she found. So time and space, all these are just concepts according to Abhidhamma, not ultimate realities. They do not exist in reality. We create with our mind. Your name is not a reality. You create it. That is a panyati, not reality, not exist. And I, my mind created. The term I. It's very difficult. Clinging to doctrinal self, doctrinal I. Time and space. What I mean is they are not ultimate reality. Actually, I do not, scientists, they always say that there's no space, time and space. There's no time in there, especially when they talk about Big Bang theory, Big Bang theory. Everything explodes, There's no time. So they always say that if there's no time, how the God can create? Actually, I can't absorb what they are talking, but they always say there's no time before the Big Bang, Before the Big Bang, no time. If there's no time, how the God have time to create? That's what they say. Actually, I can't absorb, I can't appreciate what they are talking. They always say there's no time and space before the Big Bang. Am I correct? Very difficult, very difficult. Just borrow from them. So what I want to say is time and space, they are not ultimate realities. Okay. This is from the Sutta, a very beautiful Sutta from Anguttara Nikaya. Consciousness in a new existence. Actually, two Bhava Sutta. In Pali, Bhava Sutta. We normally translate Bhava as existence. So in that Sutta, we can understand that Bhava means existence. Three types of existence. Bande, actually Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, Bande, it is said, existence. In what way, Bande, is there existence? And the Buddha said that if Ananda, there were no karma, no sankhara, ripening in the sensory realm or sense sphere realm, would sense sphere existence be distinct? No. If there's no karma that will result in the sensory realm, there will be no sense sphere existence. No Bande, Venerable said that. Thus, Ananda for beings hindered by ignorance, fettered by craving. For that reason, in Dipana originations, in triple formula, ignorance and craving are considered as two main roots, mula, two main roots. Ignorance and craving. For beings hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving, karma is the feed. Karma is the feed or the ground. Consciousness is the seed. There must be karma for the plantation of the seed, right? Plantation of the seed. If there's no karma, there's no ground. There's no feed to plant the seed. Craving the moisture. If there's no craving, if there's no clinging, there's no moisture. There's no way for the plantation of the seed or growing of the seed. For the consciousness to be established in inferior realm. Here, inferior realm is sense sphere realm, sense sphere existence. So if you look at this one, it's quite clear. Karma or sankhara is just like a feed or ground. If there's no karma, because of ignorance, we do karma, sankhara. If you do not have ignorance, there will be no karma or no sankhara. If there's no karma, that consciousness, the seed, that consciousness will not have the ground to grow or to plant. If there's no ground, if there's no feed, then consciousness cannot grow. It will die now. So that is that consciousness of Arahant and the Buddha. For the non-returner, once returner and Sotapanna, they still create karma. Because they have a ground of the feet, their death consciousness will establish in the ground. So that means they will have a new existence. This one is very beautiful, a very famous discourse of the Buddha. And craving is the moisture in the new life. For the consciousness to be established in the inferior realm or sphere existence. So in this way, there is the protection of renewed existence in future. So that here, the inferior realm is sphere realm. The middling realm is fine material realm. The superior realm is the immaterial realm. So actually, here, karma is just like a field or ground. Consciousness is just like a seed. If there's no karma, if there's no sankhara, there will be no consciousness in the new existence. There's no rebirth. So that is for Arahant and the Buddha and Paccaya Buddha. For the rest, even non-returner, so they create karma. Of course, for non-returner, they no longer create sensory karma. They just create immaterial or material karma. So as they have a karma or sankhara, the ground or the feet, that consciousness in this life will have the ground, or the consciousness will establish or will arise and will plant or will grow in the new ground. Okay? Rebirth existence. Here we have talked karma existence, right? Karma existence is similar to sankhara. But now, according to Abhidhamma, two type of karma, two type of existence, two type of bhava, karma bhava and upapati bhava. Upapati means the result of karma. Another one, rebirth existence. Conventionally speaking, three plane of existence are called the rebirth existence or path. Rebirth existence or path. Conventionally talking, in actually is a samuti satcha. We have two types of satcha reality. Conventional, they do not exist. We create in our mind for the convenience sake, for convenience speaking. So three plane of existence or 31 plane of existence are called rebirth existence or path. In ultimate sense, Paramattha, in Paramattha Satcha, it is the result of mental and physical phenomena produced by karma. So, as you do good deed in previous life, and you have rebirth in consciousness in this life, and also the physical phenomena or material phenomena caused by karma in previous life. So, in ultimate sense, but we call it, as you was born in human realm, is this sensory sphere existence. But sense sphere existence is just a concept, anyati. But in ultimate sense, it is only mental and material phenomena arises in this life because of karma in previous life. If we are talking in ultimate sense. For that reason, Abhidhamma trying to analyze in terms of ultimate sense. In terms of ultimate sense, we have a consciousness, mental factor, material phenomena, nibbana. These are ultimate realities, right? Ultimate realities. Here, upapati pawami, conventionally 31 planes of existence. In other words, 3 planes of existence. But in ultimate sense, they are the resultant mental and physical phenomena. Consciousness, mental factor, and matters. In ultimate sense. According to Abhidhamma, rebirth existence is 32 mundane resultant chetas, and they are associated mental factors and material phenomena born of karma. You understand this, right? This is a very subtle point. You was born in Singapore, but Singapore is a anyati. You created Singapore. Actually, when you was born here, only because of past karma, and you have one of the 32 mundane resultant chetas, and mental factor that associate with that rebirth consciousness, and also material phenomena caused by previous karma. When we talk about according to Abhidhamma in ultimate sense. But when we use the conventional terms, you was born as a baby, right? Like this. This is a conventional terms. Jadi, birth. With the existence as condition, birth come to be. With the existence as condition, birth come to be. So actually, birth and consciousness are the same. Actually, later I will explain it. With the existence as a condition, birth come to be. As you come to Singapore is sense sphere existence, right? As you have sense sphere existence, you have a birth here or rebirth here. If there's no place, no rebirth, right? If there's no place, very thin, For that reason, Abhidhamma trying to analyze, the world existence into 2: karma existence and rebirth existence. But according to the Suttas, it's quite clear that bhava or existence means 31 planes of existence, or 3 kinds of existence. As we have 31 planes of existence, we have a birth or rebirth. If there is no 31 planes of existence anywhere, no birth, right? So actually it's very, very thin, very thin. Or here, if there were absolutely and utterly no existence, not even one existence. We have 31, right? If utterly, absolutely no existence of any kind anywhere, that is, no sense-sphere existence, fine material existence, immaterial existence, then in the complete absence of existence, with the cessation of existence, what path we descend? No. In the Mahadidana Sutta, the Buddha asked the question to Venerable Ananda. If, the Buddha make use, the Buddha, how to say, make sure that absolute absence of existence, no way for the path or rebirth. Connection between two, connection between two. So, for the Arahant and the Buddha, they do not have a ignorance, they do not have a craving, they do not have a clinging. Because of that, no sankhara. No sankhara. If there's no sankhara, no consciousness, no rebirthing consciousness, right? No existence. If there's no existence, no birth at all. If no birth, no death, no aging. No death, no aging. So what I want to say is here, existence means 31 planes of existence or 3 types of existence. So if there is no existence, no path. If there is one of the existence, there will be path. Then there will be aging and death. Aging and death. According to Visuddhimagga, only karma existence is taken as a bhava in this context. So because of clinging, bhava arises. Because of clinging, existence arises. According to Visuddhimagga, only karma existence have to be taken. No upapati, no rebirth existence. It is also logical, but I think it's not in accordance with the suttas. It's logical to think, but it's not in accordance with the sutta. It's in accordance with the Abhidhamma, Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma talk about two. Normal existence, sometimes karma existence. Okay. Both rebirth existence, upapati bhava, and birth or jati are the resultant process of karma bhava. Karma existence create two, rebirth existence and birth. Actually, according to Visuddhimagga, rebirth existence and birth, they are the same. They arise because of karma existence, because of sankhara or karma bhava. Question? No? Birth here means not the actual child birth from the mother's womb, but the appearance of the mind and matter in the mother's womb. As soon as a being conceived in the mother's womb, that's called birth, not coming out from the mother's womb. But if you look at this sutta, it's quite clear. And what bhikkhu is birth, jati, the path of the various beings into the various order of beings. You were born among the people in Singapore. that is. And they are being born. You were born as a Singaporean. Descend into the womb. So you descend into the mother's womb. Protection. You produce as a baby here. and the manifestation of the aggregate. Actually, this is a Abhidhamma terms or ultimate realities. So, the manifestation of the aggregates, you are manifested as a aggregate, fire aggregate in the mother's womb, and the obtaining of the sense basis, then you obtain your eye, ear, nose, etc. in the mother's womb. So actually these two terms, the manifestation of aggregate, the obtaining of the six sense bases, are ultimate reality teaching. Paramata Desana, and the rest are conventional one, conventional terms. You understand? Only five aggregate descend into the mother's womb. Not a baby. A being, that is a concept we created with our mind. It is only the five aggregate and 16 species. Other than these two terms, the rest are conventional one. Samuti, Vada Desana. Any question up to here? Okay, no question. Then let's go. Aging and death, the last one. Jara Marana. With the birth, jati as condition, aging and death, jara marana, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair come to be. Because you were born in this life, you have a aging and death, definitely. Because of that, you have a sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair come to be. These are the follow-up problems, subsequent problems. Thus arises the whole mass of suffering, the Buddha said. Thus arises the whole mass of suffering. So the main problem is birth in this life. If there's no birth, there's no aging, no death, no sorrow, etc. So the main cause are when even he became the Buddha, Bodhisattva, he think that the main problem of aging and death is a birth in this life. That is the main cause, main cause. As we have a birth or rebirth in this life, sorrow, lamentation, etc. There, the whole mass of suffering the Buddha used. But of course, as a human being, as we have a lot of craving, we couldn't accept it. We don't believe the whole mass of suffering. We still believe that there are some sort of happiness. Happiness, According to Buddha, all type of feeling is suffering. Whatever feeling it is. Even the pleasant one is suffering. Because it has the nature of arising and passing away. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. Okay. Birth is inevitably followed by aging and death. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair naturally come with them. So in this way, the whole mass of suffering arises depending on one another. The main reason is birth. For that reason, the Buddha and Arahant, they try to cut off ignorance and craving. As they do not have ignorance and craving, there's no sankhara. They do not crave sankhara or karma bhava. Because of that, their consciousness, final consciousness or death consciousness, will not have any footing or will not have any ground to grow. Then it extinguishes, just like a fire. This is a Britt Vimansaka Sutta said that as he thoroughly investigates, he understands that the many kinds of suffering that arise in the world had by aging and death. Actually, aging and death is the main suffering in our life. We don't want to grow old, we don't want to die. That is greatest suffering. Had by aging and death. This suffering has birth or jati as its source, birth as its origin. It is born and produced from birth. When there is birth, aging and death comes to be. Sorrow, lamentation, etc. also come to be. When there is no birth, aging and death does not come to be. If there's no rebirth at all, there's no aging and death. Quite clear, right? Simple, is difficult to understand. In Dhammapara, a very famous one, Apamado Amatapadan. Heedfulness or mindfulness is the way to deathless. If you are mindful, you are the way to deathless. So here, deathless means by practicing mindfulness, and you will become arahant. There's no clinging, no craving. If there's no clinging and craving, you do not create sankhara. There's no sankhara, no consciousness. No consciousness in a new life. Consciousness die now. Extinguish. So in this way, mindfulness eventually leads to deathlessness. If there's no rebirth, no aging and death. No aging and death. Then when I asked Pandiji one time, Pandiji, I want to know the definition of this teaching, particular teachings. Mindfulness is the way to deathless. So actually, I asked Pandiji, I want to interpret in this way, this one. If we are mindful, we are not afraid to die. Is it correct? I asked Pandiji. Pandiji think for a while. Don't think too much. Don't think too much. Actually, of course, it's wrong. Actually, what the Buddha wants to say is, if we are mindful, there's no clinging. No clinging, no sankhara, no karma. No karma, no consciousness in the new life. Okay. If there is no birth or rebirth, no death. For that reason, it is called deathless. Okay.
But what about, I don't know whether this is correct, when we are dying, the last hot moments, right? Sometimes you die, I don't know whether it's the right thing, your consciousness is not there yet. So the thing is, you cannot control, because the last hot moment, people will always say, the last hot moment is very important. So like my last hot moment, assume that I'm dying, and my last hot moment I die, but there's this consciousness that is still around, that the thoughts will arise, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome is not within your own control. Is that right? Because I heard of this talk, which is by another Bhante, that consciousness, during the last thought moment, you die, but there is this consciousness that is followed. Maybe I don't know how long, but whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, it's not within your control. That's my one question. My second question is pertaining to rights and rituals. Buddha does not encourage the creation of any statue, but I understand that because of lay devotees, we got to see something to have a kind of concentration. So assuming that if there's a temple that actually wanted a Buddha statue, is it wholesome to if you do the Dhamma for the sexual, it's like you are creating wrong view. I'm just curious only, because these are the things that comes to me.
Okay, very hard questions. The last one especially. The first one, the last thought movement. When we talk about the last thought movement, we are not referring to that consciousness. Actually, we have learned in Abhidhamma, then the last thought movement can arise depending on 8 doors. 8 doors, right? One of the 8 doors. Some people dying while they are seeing something. Maybe in the battlefield, the soldier look at the enemy shoot with the gun. While he is seeing the enemy might die. Then some people die when they are hearing a very disturbing, unpleasant song. Then the last thought moment will be based on the ear doors. Mostly, some people might die the mind door, based on the mind door, because normally when you see the people who are going to die, normally they close their eyes. Maybe they may be, of course it depends. Sometimes if they hear somebody chanting nearby, while hearing the chanting, they might die. So what I want to say is, when we talk about the last thought movement, we refer to active process. Active process is within our control. Then, when we refer to the last thought movement and the last javana cheda, javana are within our control. Javana is active process of our mind. Then after javana, we have a 4 type of death. After javana, some people have a retinted mind, Theravada, or registerations. Then after registration, bhavanga. So that bhavanga is the last consciousness in this life. For that reason, we give the name death consciousness. It is bhavanga. Bhavanga, of course, bhavanga is not within our control. It is the result of our active process, the last javana. It is the result of the last javana cheda. Javana cheda are active process of mind, which is within our control. But of course, at the time, so weak that only 5 javana cheda can arise, not 7. Then some people die after javana, then 2 Theravada, Theravada or registration. Then after that, 1 more bhavanga. Then after that, another bhavanga. That is the last consciousness in this life. Then die. Some people, after 5 javana, then as soon as finish that javana, then die. After 5 javana, then bhavanga. The first bhavanga is the last consciousness in this life. That is called Chudicheda, death consciousness. Some people, after 5 bhavanga, another bhavanga, only another second bhavanga arise. The second bhavanga is the less consciousness in this life. So here, bhavanga or Chudicheda or Patisandhi are not within our control. They are resultant consciousness. Because of karma you can control, you can create. Because of that karma, the result will come. So those result you cannot control. I think I don't know why what they refer to the last thought moment. But here, when we talk about the last thought moment, we refer to active process of mind, the jhana. So the last jhana will determine. Of course, it's very possible. It will determine your next existence. Because of jhana and dharamana and bhavanga. So that bhavanga is the less consciousness in this life. Now many more bhavanga will come. The first consciousness, the first bhavanga in the new life is called river consciousness. They are bhavanga. They are not within your control. When you are sleeping, you cannot control. When you are sleeping without any, the dream or fully sleeping, you cannot control your body. You cannot notice, right? Okay, so we can control our jhana cheda. That's within our control. When we refer to the last thought moment, we refer to the jhana cheda. Okay? And the next question is a statue. But of course, at the time of the Buddha, there's no statue. And the Buddha also were not encouraged to do so. Then when, so at that time, actually, not only at the time of the Buddha, even recent time, in India, there is a important concept of the Indian. So they do not make any portrait of the great people, especially the king and the religious leader. They think that the kings and religious leaders are second to none, no equal. If you make a portrait, that means disrespectful toward them, right? Then it goes on until 500 years after the Buddha passing away. Then Greek from Europe and came to Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. Then they have this concept, important concept. They want to make portrait or the picture of famous people, especially the king and god and goddesses. They make statues. Because of that, when they come to Asia and they study about the Buddha, wow, he's very famous. Why? Do you have any portrait or any pictures or any statue? No. If so, we should do it. And they start to do it.
Yeah, I understand.
They start to do it. So that's very important to understand here. The Buddha, when he meet with the bhikkhu Vaikali, he said, why you want to see this foul body? Even the living Buddha, right? Living Buddha. But he, Vaikali, is very intelligent and full of parami. The Buddha purposely used this one, Because of this one, he became arahant based on that one. But the Buddha might not use for other people. For lay devotee, he might not use such one. Seeing the Buddha is a great meritorious deed, right? Great meritorious deed. So, based on different individuals, the Buddha might use different terms. For Vaikali, he said, no use to see me. But for normal devotee, seeing the Buddha is a great meritorious deed, right? So, they are not contradict based on their individual disposition or individual qualities or understanding, level of understanding. So here, In the case of Buddha statue, here comes your question. Very long. In the case of Buddha statue, for normal people, it is useful. By going to Shrine Hall, they look at Buddha statue. Normally Buddha statue is very calm. By looking at Buddha statue, and they pay homage to the Buddha, the full of veneration, full of devotion. So in this way, they accumulate good deed. For advanced Buddhists, for the one who have learned a very advanced teaching like a divine originations, just like you, for noble truths, statues are not important. Statues are not important. But people has misunderstanding, a very bad misunderstanding, especially in Buddhist countries. Even though they have a lot of Buddha statues, they still do it. When you go to Myanmar, Shuddhagompa, you will see a lot of Buddha statues. It is based on ignorance and misunderstanding. We don't need many Buddha statues. In Myanmar, we have a very famous Sayadaw who wrote a lot of books. One of the famous monks in the 20th century, he keep only one Buddha statue in his temple. One building, only one Buddha statue. No other statue is allowed. So I think that is very important. We need, of course, for normal people, we need Buddha statue. It is helpful for us to emulate the quality of the Buddha. But for people, for serious meditator, they don't need Buddha statue. If they practice teachings of the Buddha, they see the Buddha. Even though they are living under the trees, even though they are living in the forest, as long as they are practicing the Dhamma, they see the Buddha. Just like a venerable faculty, right? Faculty. For normal devotees, they need Buddha statue. But of course, we have to use our wisdom. Whether the statues are, embodied. Suppose we have a lot of Buddha statues in Mangala Vihara, then you want to raise another one. No use. Actually, our temple is very good in a way that we don't have so many statues, right? We have only one in Shrine Hall. In Shrine Hall. What I mean is, in the Shrine Hall, we've only main Buddha statue. The rest, actually, we do not keep it. Some people, they keep for a while, for the blessing. Or reclining Buddha is at that later part. It's another story. It's another story, another story. Anyway, our temple, less rites and rituals, less statues. Because our temple is educated, advanced. We can even say that, Less rites and rituals. When you come to MV, very simple, with only classes that talk about teachings of the Buddha. Very simple. Of course, blessing, by performing blessings, the temple accumulate a lot of money, a lot of donation, but we don't do it. Very lucky, Very simple. When you read the suttas, actually, the life of the Buddha is very simple. No rites and rituals. One time, the Buddha was talking to the monks, and the Buddha coughed. Like this. One of the monks, bless you, bless you, long life, long life. And the Buddha said, no, you don't have to use it. You don't have to say Jivatu Bandi and then I forgot in Vinaya Pitaka. Long life. The Buddha do not allow to say long life. No, you don't have to say that. If you say, you break one of the Vinaya rules. Tokata. Tokata means wrongdoing. No, you didn't do that. Very simple, very simple. Of course, the statutes are important for the normal people, but having a lot of statutes out of ignorance, we don't need many. Instead of donating statues where there are many statues have been donated, then you can donate some other useful buildings. And also, some people have especially for those who are educated, they also have this mindset. Instead of donating the temple, it's better to donate poor people. Right? That's also my misunderstanding. Instead of donating to the temple, better to donate poor people. There are two, of course, conditions. If the temple do not need any donation, so your money should go to poor people, of course. That's better. But if the temple need your donation, instead of donating to the poor, the donation to the temple is better, because the temple will be the place where many people will come and learn the Dhamma and benefit from it. So I think people have a misunderstanding, especially educated people. Two conditions: if the temple do not need donation, of course, it's better to go to the poor people. If the temple need, better to go to the temple, because the temple will be the place where many people will come and enjoy peace of the mind. Okay, so statute. We have to use our wisdom. So we not like Pavachaka. Because of ignorance, we do sankhara, volition and formation of karma. Because of that, consciousness, here, consciousness can be rebirthing in consciousness, in normal consciousness, in normal time. Because of that, mind and matter. Because of that, 16 species. Because of that, we have a contact. Because of contact, feeling. Because of feeling, craving. Because of craving, clinging. Because of existence, because of clinging, existence. Because of existence, birth. Because of birth, aging and death. And sorrow, lamentation, etc. All these will follow. So this is a 12-fold formula on dependent originations. But here, because of feeling, as you have a rebirth of consciousness, you will definitely have mind and matter. Because of that, 16 species, because of that contact, and feeling will arise. Definitely feeling will arise. But if you practice mindfulness and sampajana, there will be no craving, no clinging. If there's no clinging, there will be no existence. But here, existence means 31 planes of existence, or 3 types of existence. If there's no existence, there's no birth. No birth, no aging and death. No sorrow, lamentation, etc. So the most important thing is, you have to break here. Because of that, Samdha Nikaya chapter 36 is very important. This is the place where we have to cut our samsara, our problem, our suffering. So, feeling, Vedana, sensation, experience will come. When you see pleasant things, pleasant experience. Unpleasant thing, unpleasant experience. If the object is not clear, then neutral. So those three types of feeling will arise. But if you are mindful, if you clearly understand what is happening at that moment, then craving will not arise. If there's no craving, no existence. No existence, no path, no agent and no death. So in this way, the end of suffering. The end of samsara. Any question? That is called arising formula. Arising formula. Arising of suffering. Right? Arising of suffering. So we always, we have two types of dependent originations, arising formula and cessation formula. Each formula we have a trailing. Ignorant, volitional formation, consciousness, mind and matter, six sense species, contact, feeling, sensation, craving, clinging, existence, birth, agent and death. Here, sorrow, lamentation, etc. are not shown as one of the factors. The reason is, so they are just the secondary consequence of birth. As you have a birth or rebirth in this life, you have a sorrow, lamentation, etc. They are just secondary. The main consequences of birth is aging and death. For that reason, they are not shown as a factor, trade factor. I think no question, right? Question? Okay, then let's close our lesson. Yo varatam bhavaro manu jesu sakya muni bhagava kata kecho paragato bala viriya samadhi dansukatan saranatamu bemi ragavi ragamani jamasokan Dhamma masangata mapatikulan madura mimambagunan suwipatan Dhamma mimam saranatamu bemi yatha jade nama apalamahu chatusu susisu purisayugesu atacha pokala dhammadasate sangamimam saranatamu bemi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everyone.